How's it going, guys? We are back, but this time we are not going to be doing a gameplay session. I'm going to be talking about the area key tracking tool that we've used using the Roulette calculator step system, which has proved really well. We've taken $80 up to about $2,500. And it's been pretty plain sailing. So I'm getting quite a few questions of what do the depths mean, and just different questions about how to use the area key. So I thought I'd take the time to create a tutorial that not only talks about the area key itself, but also the auto tracking functionality as well. So when you're a member of Roulette Calculators, this is essentially the platform. It is a social network, and because I like to keep it open, so it's very transparent. And on here we've got instant messaging, and you can, pretty much like Facebook, you can add different things and type stuff. Okay, so you can share videos and photos and things like that. So you can see here Kirk Chamberlain, he's I don't know how he's done this, but he's added an image, but we've got a preview option, and he's showing the depth count 20 times on a depth of 0 and 8 times on a depth of 1. That's a really nice signature. Cameron's just said, just getting in and getting out, getting a little 5 to 10% gains, working for me. They add up, trust me. Okay. Nathan, he said another positive ending. Dealer tracker really favouring the unhighlighted area tonight. Now we're over 200% up from his starting balance, which was $40 in 6 days. I love it. Hashtag bet smart. You stole my line. And looking at the depth of win chart, yeah, I mean, there's a depth of 4 there. We always minus 1 off the first, and lots of 1s and a couple of 2s. Another depth of 4, and then the same pattern. So, yeah, well done. So I can see your balance is 121, and that's from 40. Excellent stuff. So when you're on this network, we've got the calculators. So we've got the USA calculators. Now this is for 00 tables. We've got the EU calculators, and that's single 0 tables. And then we've got the auto tracking. So I'm just going to go into the manual trackers to show you exactly what happens. So the tool that we're doing is the area key, and this is essentially the layout. So what we've got here, obviously it's showing you the depth of wins chart, the depth count, and also this input field here. Now the amount of numbers to track is automatically selected at 19 because that's the most common setting that people use on Roulette calculators. So I thought we'll leave it at the standard one. Now start betting at a depth of, that's entirely optional, but we're going to talk about exactly what's happening. So let's say the first result was number 17. What you're going to notice is this highlighted area, and that is surrounding 19, well, it's basically 19 numbers surrounding the number that they landed on, because a dealer will more often than not spin the ball in line with their previous result. So if the previous result was 17, they're going to release the ball in line with number 17 or 1 or 2 pockets either side. And what this tool is doing is looking at how often that dealer is spinning the ball back to the same half of the wheel as what they're spinning it from, or looking to see if it's landing on this unhighlighted section, which is the opposite side of the wheel. Now what happens is, if it lands on any of the numbers that are highlighted, so let's say number 15, the depth count is going to go to 0. Okay, so this is going to go to 0. Now if it lands on, so now it's looking at number 15 and the 19 surrounding numbers. If it lands on the highlighted section again, it's going to go to 0 again. So let's say 25, okay? And you're going to see that this depth count stays at 0, but what's happening is it's getting transferred into this depth of wins chart below. And as I always say, the first entry, the very first entry, you always minus 1 off. And the reason for that is, as you can see, the highlighted one there puts a 0 in. That means it's gone from the highlighted section back to the highlighted section. Now if you've been tracking a dealer and you're getting a lot of highlighteds back to the highlighted, it's just going to say 0. So we always add 1 on the first entry there. Well, the tool always adds 1, and that's so you can see where you started tracking the data. So whatever the first value is, you minus 1. So in this case we know that's a 0, which means it went highlighted back to highlighted. So if it lands on any of the unhighlighted numbers, this depth count always increases by 1. So let's say the number was 9, the next result was number 9. Once you submit that, you're going to see that the depth count increases to 1. Now let's say it lands on another unhighlighted number, so in this case 19. If we submit that, you're going to see the depth count increases to 2. and so on. So let's say it goes to 24, that's going to go to 3. It's only when the ball lands on a highlighted number that depth count will return to 0, and whatever is in that depth count gets transferred into this depth of wind chart. So let's say it went to number 11 in this instance. You're going to see the depth count returns to 0, and that depth of 3 gets carried down into this depth of winds chart. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so what we're looking for when we're tracking dealers is to find a dealer that is very consistently hitting either high depths or low depths. So there'll be lots of 0s and 1s with the occasional 2, or we're looking for big blocks like a depth of 5, a depth of 7, a depth of 9 back to back. And what that tells us is the dealer may be favouring the side of the wheel that they're spinning the ball from consistently, or they may be favouring the unhighlighted, so the opposite side to where they're spinning the ball from. So a good rule of thumb is to analyze the dealer always, because sometimes you do find the dealers that are very, very consistent and they're just getting lots of 0s and 1s, and then occasionally they can switch it and all of a sudden just start consistently hitting high depths. Now I find that it's quite common to find that a consistent dealer, they're still consistent, but they've just changed something that they're doing. Like they might be spinning the ball a bit faster, or the wheel a bit faster or slower. They might have had a comment, you know, when they're being a croupier and someone is making a nasty comment to them, which can change their emotions, and they might start spinning the wheel a bit faster because they're angry at that person, or they might be thinking about an argument that they had with their boyfriend or girlfriend earlier that day. So you always have to analyze the dealer. These tools are simply showing you the dealer's history, and then it's ultimately up to the player how to use that information. So let me refresh this tool, and again, that's how I get out of this. I click on this bar at the top and I just press return. If you do a hard refresh, it's still going to keep the data in there. Again, another member asked if it's possible to add a button which says clear data, and that should be easy to implement, and I will try and do that. I'll find an area that we can do that. I'm trying to keep it all nice and tidy. So let's have a look at the ideal scenario. So let's say the result was number 14. Okay, what we're doing is looking for, like I said, it was either going to land consistently in this highlighted section or consistently in the unhighlighted section. So let's just add a whole bunch of highlighted numbers in just for just to educate you. So let's say I went to 29, and you want to track a whole bunch of numbers before you start betting. Okay, so let's say that went to number 7, and what we're going to do, we're going to notice here, now remember this, you always -1 off the first entry, so that was a 0, and then you can see 0, 0, 0, 0. And that's telling us, oh, this dealer is really favouring this highlighted section of the wheel, and that highlighted section being the side of the wheel that they're spinning the ball from. Okay, so that's an ideal scenario. Now what typically you will find is, say it goes to number 11, and then 34, and then 11, and then maybe it goes to 0, and then it goes to 18, and then let's go 7, number 4, and then say it goes back to number 4. Okay, so this is what you're going to see, and this is still a very good signature. So you can see here, so 0 means it's gone highlighted, 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 then it's gone to the unhighlighted section, and then straight to the highlighted, which brings that depth of 1 out. Then it went back to the highlighted section, and then it went to the unhighlighted section, and then back to the highlighted section, and it did that again. It went to the unhighlighted, the highlighted section straight away, then it went to the unhighlighted, and then the highlighted. So this is a very good signature, and we see this quite a lot, lots of 0s and 1s with the occasional 2 thrown in. Now another instance would be where it goes to the unhighlighted section quite frequently. So what we'll be doing is entering in these unhighlighted numbers, and obviously you'll be using real data. This is just me entering in the numbers to show you exactly what's going on. Now I just want to point out, with the unhighlighted section, if you have a look at this, you might, you can scroll down and you'll be like, oh, no information's gone in, but it's in this depth chart here. So remember, this doesn't get translated into this depth of wind chart until this highlighted section comes in. So if you see lots of data at the top here and you see this depth chart, is not showing anything. I've clicked on that now, which has updated it, but you'll see that that's now transferred into that. So let me just go back a second. So you'll see it's currently at a depth of 6. But if there's nothing here, that doesn't mean it's bad. Make sure you check this depth chart here, because that's going to show you, wow, this dealer's hit the unhighlighted section 6 times in a row. So always make sure you check that depth chart before you dismiss the table if it's saying 0 and 0, okay? And you're like, oh, there's no data. So make sure you check that, because that could be a very, very good signature that you miss out on. Okay, so that's essentially what it's doing. Now you can adjust the numbers that it is covering. 19 is the favorite. 19 is essentially half the wheel. I mean, it's one less, because if you do a neighbor bet on the highlighted section on number 36, you're covering the number 36 itself, 9 numbers to the left of that and 9 numbers to the right, which is exactly 19 numbers. If you do the unhighlighted section, you're going to be betting somewhere around here. Now this is again, the person who told me to update this chart came up with a very, very good idea, which I'm going to be implementing soon, and that is to put a blue highlight at the opposite side in the unhighlighted section, so you don't really have to work it out. It will just be a simple click. Now the problem with this is it is an uneven number. Okay, so we're going to have 2 numbers highlighted. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's halfway round. So we would have number 7 and number 28 that's highlighted, because if you count the opposite side, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'd have both number 7 and 28 highlighted in blue, and then it's up to you. Do you want to put the neighbor bet on number 7 or number 28? If you put the neighbor bet on number 7, you're going to cover all of these unhighlighted numbers plus one of the highlighted numbers. So if you put the bet on 7, you would also be covering number 33 with that bet. If you put the bet on number 28, you're going to be covering all of the unhighlighted numbers plus number 4. So with the unhighlighted section, it does cross over and cover one of the highlighted numbers. Now, if you're using the USA area key, it works out perfectly because there's an extra number there. So if we input number 20, you can see that's 19 numbers. And on the opposite side, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it's exactly half the table when you're covering 19 numbers on an American roulette table. But we will still add the opposite mark on the area key USA as well, but on the EU version we're going to have to highlight 2 of the numbers to let you know the opposite side, and that's just basically a guide that makes it easier for you to identify that number. Again, we've had another person asking, is it possible to have a button to change the racetrack orientation? Because some tables, the racetrack or the neighbor bet section, the 0 is at the bottom right. Other tables, it's on the left hand side. So basically everything is inverted, and that can also be a bit confusing if you're new to the roulette neighbor bets and the racetrack. So we're going to be adding that option in as well, and that'll just give you a button that you can change the orientation. So when you click that, this 0 will end up on the left hand side, and it will make it a lot easier for you. So that's essentially it. That's the manual tracking area key. Now I want to show you the auto tracking, because that's what myself and many people use. And all you're going to do is when you go to the auto tracking tab, you're going to click on auto tracking tables. And when you go there, that's going to load all of the tables that we're currently able to auto track. And that's a mixture of Evolution Gaming, Playtech and Pragmatic Play. So if your casino uses any of these tables, you will be able to load the auto tracker up with that. Let me just give you an example of what I mean. Let's go to Pragmatic Play. That's going to load these tables up. It's going to show you the table type as well. So a multi-direction spin, that's where they alternate the spin direction from clockwise to anti-clockwise. It's showing you the type of roulette, in this case auto roulette, that's the air powered, and you can see live dealer. Okay, then it's going to show you the table type, which is European roulette, or it'll be American roulette. and then you've got the sort of table type, which in speed roulette, or it could be bonus roulette, which is kind of like the lightning roulette and games like that, which pays a lower odds, but it gives you the option for the bonus. So let's have a look at a table, and I'm going to explain what's going on here. So let's say we open Roulette Macau. Okay, I would go across and I would click select tracker. Now it's going to show you the options of the different calculators that you can use, and in this case we're going to select the area key. Now if you're using a Mac, or it might do it for your browser as well, I'm not sure, but it might block the pop-up. So if I click there, you can see it says pop-up window blocked. Now all you have to do is click on that, and that's going to open that tracker. Okay, and once you've done that, you don't need to do that again if you're opening multiple tables. It would just automatically open a table for you. Okay, I'm going to close that table just for now, and we're going to leave this one open, which is Roulette Macau. You're going to see it's going to show you the dealer's name. So in this case, Alexa, which table is best to play on? Okay, players, it's going to show you how many players are on there, and it will also track how long the dealer's been on the table. Now this will update after a dealer change. So this will currently start counting the time since you've opened this table, and after the dealer change that will go back to 0. So if you leave it open all day, it's always going to be correct. Now let's open that table just so you can see what's happening. Okay, so this is Roulette Macau. I'm going to open that table on here. So we'll go to Roulette, and we're looking for Roulette Macau, which is here. Now what I typically do is check the numbers which it's showing, in this case 016, and we're going to go here and you can see it's 0, so this will then update and show 16. But what we do, it automatically refreshes a couple of times when you first open it to make sure it's collecting the data at the current rate. So I'll show you what I mean in a second. So I'm going to open this table up. Okay, and that's gone to 27. So you'll see here when this auto tracker updates, it's going to put number 27 in this calculator, and it's doing this all automatically, and it's going to keep inputting the data based on what this dealer's doing. Okay, so what we're going to do, and I just want to talk a little bit about what's happening. Okay, so the dealer's just spun the ball from number 27 because that was the last result. The area key is going, is this ball going to land around 27 or the opposite side? So if we have a look here, it's gone to number 10. So you can see here number 10 is in this highlighted section. So that's going to transfer that depth down here. And remember, you minus 1 off of the first one. So we know that's gone from the highlighted section back to the highlighted section. And now it's tracking number 10 and the surrounding area. So if we have a look here, she's doing another spin. The calculator is now looking at, is it going to land on the side of the wheel which has got number 10 or the opposite side? And what we're doing is looking for consistency. So in this case, it's gone to number 15, which you'll notice is in the unhighlighted section. It's just here. So that's going to put the depth to 1. And then it's going to keep tracking all of this data, and it's going to start presenting it to you in this depth of wins chart. So once you've got a lot of data, you can quickly look and go, wow, this dealer's consistent, or this dealer isn't consistent. And that's going to give you the insight as to whether or not it's worth playing on that table. Okay, so it's a very, very simple system using the area key. And I just want to illustrate exactly what we're looking for when a dealer's spinning the ball. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this open. Now you can see that the result is number 23. When the dealer picks up the ball, she's going to release that ball in line with number 23 or within a couple of pockets either side. And some dealers are different. Some dealers might release it 5 or 10 pockets later. As long as they do that consistently, that's good. So you can see number 23, and she spun it in line with number 10, which is next to number 23. So I hope that makes sense, because it's measuring the distance from where she's releasing the ball from to where the ball lands. And also you'll notice her hand placement will always be in the same area of the base of the roulette wheel. So you can see the diamonds around the wheel, they're fixed, they never move. The base of the wheel never moves. And let's just mark where her hand is when she releases the ball. Now if it's a multi-direction table, there will be 2 different hand placements. So it might be here and then a hand placement over here. So let's have a look. So her hand placement is here, so it's pretty much in between this black line and this diamond, and that's when she's spinning the ball clockwise around the wheel. Now when she does the opposite spin, you're going to see her hand placement probably around here, and that will be going anti-clockwise. Okay, and we're going to have a look at the table data in a minute to see if this dealer does have a signature, but I really want to explain about this hand placement and how the area key works, why the data makes sense, because people think, oh, the wheel has no memory. It doesn't, but the dealer does, and I'm really trying to get that across to you. So our hand placement should be around here somewhere. Okay, so it's right up here, so you can see it's in between these two diamonds. Okay, in between these two diamonds when she spins the ball anti-clockwise. Okay, and when she's going to spin the ball next, it's going to be a clockwise spin. And what did we say in between this black line and the diamond? Oh, sorry, this black line here and this diamond. So her hand should go about here when she releases the ball, and that should be in line or one or two pockets away from number 6, which is the current result. So let's have a look, see if she has consistency with that. So our hand placement, yep, perfect, and it was in line as well. So that's the hand placement. And like I said, if it's a multi-direction table, there will be 2 different hand placements, okay? And when it's a single direction table, it's the same hand placement each time. So that's basically looking at that. Let's have a look at the data now. She's on a depth of 0. The result, which has just come in, is number 3. And that's put that to a depth of 1. So if we look here, we had a depth of 0. So that was highlighted back to highlighted. Then she went unhighlighted twice, followed by the highlighted section. Then she went unhighlighted once, followed by the highlighted section. Now she's on a depth of 1, which means she's gone to the unhighlighted section again. And we're starting to see this pattern emerge. Now some patterns are a lot more clear than others, and some are quite messy. If I see a dealer that has lots of inconsistency, like a depth of 4 and then 3 or 4 zeros in a row, and then a depth of 3 and a few zeros, I won't play with that dealer because there's no real consistency that I can measure. Now I want to see if this lands in this unhighlighted section. No, it's gone back to the highlighted. Okay, so you can see now another depth of 1. Now this isn't too bad. Betting on a depth of 1 and 2 could be okay, but we really want to see like 7 or 8 results in there just to give you an insight as to whether or not that dealer is consistent, or if this is just luck. Okay, so that's the concept of doing this. Now this is the auto tracking table, and I think that I've explained this enough so you understand what's going on. That's gone to 32, so again that's a highlighted section again, and that depth of 0 will then get transferred here. Okay, so at the moment I probably wouldn't play with this dealer just yet. It's not too bad, but you can always find something better, especially when you open multiple tables and you leave them all tracking in the tabs. You can just switch between them all and go, right, this dealer's no good, this dealer's no good, oh, this one looks good, we can try and play on this table. So this is the auto tracking. Now you might be playing on speed roulette. Now speed roulette, update, because it takes a few seconds to update on the auto trackers, it might be too slow and you're not having time to place your bets. If that's the case, this button here says auto tracking. You can simply click that button and that's going to stop the auto tracking from happening, and then you can click on these numbers which will then update. Now you'll see once the auto tracking's on, you can click on these numbers here, and oh, has that gone to number 17? I don't know what's just happened there, but I'm going to click that and click undo last entry as well, because I don't know what happened there. But I'm going to set the auto tracking on, so this is going to update number 1 in a few seconds. Let's have a look. There we go, number 1. Okay, so really if I click these numbers, it shouldn't update. There you go. So this will never update when you click on these numbers, but if auto tracking is switched off, then you will be able to click on the numbers. So auto tracking is now disabled, so I could be watching the dealer, and as soon as I see where that ball has landed, in this case it is number 9, straight away I can click on number 9 and that's going to update it straight away. So that gives you a much more time to start placing your bets. Now this dealer has actually gone to a fairly nice signature, which is here, depth of 1, depth of 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is a dealer where you would look at the unhighlighted, the highlighted section of the wheel. And also what you can do here, I think it's a dealer change, yeah. So it's a dealer change. If this auto tracking was on, it might still do it now, but this dealer's name will change and it will also delete all of this information. There you go. So it's deleted it all, it's changed to dealer, it's Elena, and it will start tracking automatically again. You can also disable that if you want, where it says here refresh on dealer change. If I turned that off, it wouldn't remove the data, it would just keep the data going. And some people prefer that because if they're tracking, say, an auto table like Lightning Roulette, they have dealers, but it's air powered, so it doesn't really make any sense to change the dealer or get rid of any of the data. So you do have the option to disable that. So that's pretty much what the area key does. Now I'm just going to talk about this start betting at a positive depth of, and this is purely if you find a dealer that's going to a particular depth. Say they've never gone past a depth of 5, you might want to change this here and say I only want the table to highlight when she goes to a depth of 4. So once that table goes to a depth of 4, that's the only time it will highlight, and that's kind of giving you the alert to place your bet. Okay, so that's on 16 now. Now it's going to change because I've just set that before as it was updating. So I'm going to set that to a depth of 4, and you're going to see when the next result comes in, this table won't highlight. It'll only highlight when this depth count goes to 4, if it does. So let's have a look. That's gone to 23. So that's on a highlighted section. So you're going to see that the highlighted section will disappear once this updates. Okay, so you can see here it won't highlight until this criteria here, the depth count, reaches what you've set here. Now you can also select the starting bet per number here, and this will give you it will tell you how much to bet per number based on the numbers that you've set to track. Okay, I don't think many people use this feature, but we included this when we first set up the tracking tool. It's a lot easier to now follow this roulette calculator step system, and you can update the number, the amount that you want to bet per number, and then you can see cost per number here, or you can just select the unit size. Okay, so that's just another little tip there, but it is there if you want to carry on, and this will update and give you the amount base to keep you in profit. Okay, so it's essentially a martingale system, but slightly different because we're covering 19 numbers. Now if it's set to 17, it would be less, the progression goes less, and we've got this set to all different amounts here, 3 numbers up to 21 numbers, and of course the bet per number will adjust accordingly. Again, you can look at the depth count based on how many numbers in real time. So I'm going to wait for the tool to update because I can hear that a result has just come in. And then we can also have a look at the depth of wins and the data here based on numbers. So if we click on tracking 11 numbers, it's going to update these charts. So if we click 3, there's no data yet. No data on 5 or 7, 9. So it's gone back within those 9 numbers that many times. Okay, 21 you can see there, but most people keep it set to 19. So I'm just showing you for completion and the illustration purposes. So you can see this hasn't highlighted because that hasn't gone to a depth of 4 yet. She's currently gone to a depth of 0 and then a depth of 1, and now it's gone to 0 again. So depth of 0, depth of 1, depth of 0, and that's essentially it. That's how this area key works. I'm going to change that back to 0 because that's what it's set at standard, and it is nice to see what's happening with the table each time. And like I said, all you need to do is go to whatever casino you're using. If you want to use the one I'm doing, it is linked in the description. There's a link there, you can click on that And then it's got the links to various different things like the Roulette dealer tracking course, how to get these tracking tools, also the platform that I use. It's all linked in below. Also the spreadsheets as well. So let's have a look at this. It should now highlight because I've set that to 0. And you can see this dealer's hit the highlighted section 4 times and the unhighlighted section once. So you can see here it went to a depth of 0, then a depth of 1, 0, 0. So this gives you a nice indication of what's happening on the table in regards to how often is this dealer hitting the highlighted section and how many times is she hitting the unhighlighted section. So betting on the neighbours like this makes far more sense than betting on reds or blacks, because you'll see that the reds and blacks alternate around the table and it's very random. If you find a dealer that is favouring the side of the wheel they're spinning from or the opposite side, it's going to show on the calculator with much more precision. Okay, so that's essentially it. That's the area key. I will just touch base on how to make the neighbours bets. So currently we're covering 19 numbers. That's a neighbour bet of 9, which it does show in this spreadsheet. We're doing 19 numbers, so you can adjust it here. When you're on the table and you're making the neighbour bet, you're looking at this racetrack. So what you do is set that neighbours to 9, and then what you're going to do, say I was going to bet on the highlighted section, 0's just come in, you're going to see that populate here. Now what I would do is put a single bet on 0, and you can see that's covering from, I believe, number, I think it's 34 round. Let's just have a look here. So yeah, it'll be covering from 34 around to 22 if I just put a single bet on that 0. And that's how the neighbour bet works. So you can easily place your bets using this, and that's set to 9. Now if you're doing less numbers, say you was going to do 17 numbers like this, you would just change that to 17. Then what you're going to do is change your neighbour bet here to 8, and that's going to cover the number you highlight, 8 numbers to the left and 8 numbers to the right, which will total 17 numbers. So using this the neighbour tool here is so easy to place your bets, and it's very, very quick when you're following this. Okay, so we can have a look at the dealer again. It's gone 0, so highlighted, unhighlighted, then to the highlighted, then to the highlighted, highlighted, then unhighlighted twice, followed by the highlighted. So I really hope this explains exactly what the depth count is, what these little bits show you. I mean, this is showing the recent numbers, which is here. This depth count is showing you how often the dealer's gone to the highlighted section and how often she's gone to the unhighlighted section. This is showing you the whether the current result is number 24 and the numbers that you would cover doing a neighbour bet covering 19 numbers. This is showing you the depth count, the current depth count. This shows you the maximum depth. So what's the maximum depth that that dealer's gone to? What your bet would be if you're following the starting bet per number, and it will show you how much you would bet per number. So in this case 0.5, and that's based on what you've set here. So I put 0.25. Okay, so that's essentially it. This depth of wins graph is what you really want to pay attention to. You can use this depth count here just to give you an indication, like you'd be like, oh, 5 times on the highlighted, 5 times on the unhighlighted or whatever. And then you can go down here and have a look and how that reflects on the table. Now this depth count, I will just include this quickly. This is showing you how many times the dealer has brought in the result on a depth of 0. So that's a highlighted section. How many times the dealer has brought in the result when it's been on a depth of 1. And how many times the dealer has brought in the result when it's on a depth of 2. Okay, so this is basically just showing you the depth count, but how many times that's happened, and this chart here shows you the results and what depth it came in on. So the last result came in on a depth of 2, the result before that came in on a depth of 2, the result before that was on 0, 0, 1, and then depth the number 5 was 0 because we minus 1. Okay, so I think that's pretty much covered everything I can about the area key. Like I said, we've got the different versions. We've got the auto tracking version, which we're using at the moment. We've got the manual tracking one, which you can access on this EU calculator list, or the USA calculator list. At the bottom we do have the tutorials for this, and I highly recommend that you do the dealer tracker course. So it teaches you, it's about 3 hours long, but it takes you every step of the way on how to track dealers, what to look for, and all of the topics where I was covering before, where she releases the ball from. We really break that down to make it easy to understand and easy to digest. And yeah, if you haven't done the dealer tracker course, make sure you do it. It's completely free. I might upload it in a couple of big segment videos onto the YouTube channel, just so it's available without having to go to any other platform. So you'll just be able to access it within the YouTube channel. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it's given you value. If there's anything I missed, please drop a comment below. Also drop a comment below and let me know if you've learned anything today, or just tell me how your week's been. Anyway, I hope you enjoy that. Take care, and as always guys, please bet smart.
Subscribe now.